Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So a lot of smaller things over the last couple of days that I haven't got around to covering because of other bigger news that has kind of needed to get focus on its own. But let's get through all this stuff so we can catch up on everything. So straight away, I suppose a slight update to the big news, the CinemaCon stuff, is just that, okay, a lot of the websites posted about it, but what about official Avatar, like channels and stuff like that, the social media accounts? Well, the official Instagram account did post a bunch of Instagram stories about the information from CinemaCon. Now, currently, as you can see here, because they're Instagram stories, they don't stay up the whole time. They don't have a normal post about it, but they had a bunch of stories up about it. So they posted them sort of, kind of. But it was kind of weird the way they did it here, where they, as you can see here, they kind of just got a screenshot. They did link some of these articles as well. They posted the Variety article, which I used in my video. But interestingly, they also just linked a bunch of like images of tweets from like a fan account, just highlighting that like this actor has been cast as this character, and they went through basically all of them. That account did put up the whole Dante Bosco thing, but the Avatar account didn't retweet that again, highlighting the idea that was not revealed. That is just like assumed from elsewhere and probably the case, but not officially revealed. I just felt that this was a bit of a weird way to do it, where like just post it directly yourself. Like official Avatar account, post, you know, the reveal of all those actors. I don't know why they did it in such a sort of like almost like half-hearted way, where they they want to draw attention to it, but not too much attention. It's a bit of an odd one there. It just makes it feel like, you know, the news got out there publicly. It's not that it leaked or anything, but they just didn't quite commit to it yet. Obviously, we're not here yet. We're not there ready to go with the full-on promotion for this thing. Like, we're still probably a good bit away from that. I'm assuming once we hit a year to go, that's probably when we're roughly within range of like, okay, they're probably going to start talking about it a little bit more. The next couple of months are going to be that kind of like mixed kind of thing where we might hear little bits and pieces, but probably not expecting too much else. On a similar kind of just note, I do want to just note that again, the official Avatar Studios website, they don't have anything. That it's not been updated since it went live, as far as I'm aware. All the parts are still exactly the same as they once were. There's no additional parts. They don't mention the comics. And I just note this because Mike made a new official website for himself. Now, obviously, it's just his own website, mainly to promote his own kind of like novels and stuff like that, not so much be specifically Avatar. But people have found out, of course, like if you look at the FAQ on the website, there's a bunch of questions that are asked. So obviously about the live action stuff, which we basically know about. There's nothing particularly fancy here. It's basically just what he said when he left. What's going on with Avatar Studios? Animation is a very long process, but rest assured the amazing teams at Avatar Studios, Nickelodeon and Paramount are hard at work developing and producing new animated stories and other Avatar related content. The first Avatar feature film has been announced and is in production. For Avatar specific updates, you can check out the official website. My issue with this is just, why does he link the website? They don't actually have any information about the big stuff. His FAQ little thing that eventually leads to linking you to the website has more information about the movie than the website actually has. And that's a bit of a issue here of just the official channels, once again, not really up to standard yet. Maybe there'll be a big evolution when we can finally actually talk about more detailed information. But right now, it is just a little bit all over the place overall. It's just a bit of a kind of a frustrating one there. What else? There was something else that I wanted to kind of highlight here. Was it one of these or something like that? I suppose just this one. He does mention specifically that, like, he mentions the Roku novel. So just highlighting that, I guess this was written relatively recently. So kind of interesting that, for instance, here, it doesn't mention the movie as being like Team Avatar focused or any like details about it. It doesn't mention the release date, 2025. Again, maybe highlighting like how locked in is a lot of this stuff that maybe wasn't directly talked about at the the CinemaCon event. But anyway, just a quick kind of thing I wanted to highlight there. Next, Fortnite update. I obviously did my live stream on Friday for the launch of the kind of Aang Battle Pass and going over the first stage of the quests. It was kind of maybe a little bit of a surprise. I almost forgot, I think, leading in that, like, oh yeah, they're going to, time gate these a little bit. So the first stage of the quests are, we've done them all. I did those on stream. The next ones, the Earth Chakra quests, are going live tomorrow. And you can see it's basically 3, then 4 days, another 3 days. So they're just separating all the quests out to, to do these quests, to unlock all the various items, of course. You need to unlock all the chakras to get the Appa glider. And you need to do at least a good portion of these quests, get enough chi to unlock all of the stuff in the battle pass. Now, technically, there are other quests that you can do. I'll probably talk about that sort of stuff on my next stream, which I'll do some sort of a stream, like I said, for the Earth Chakra quests on Monday. It'll probably be very similarly timed to the previous ones. I don't think I'm going to go as long on the stream this time out. I probably will just do pretty much just as many games as I need to do to complete the quests, maybe answer a few questions, that sort of thing. Show off the other way to get kind of EXP for the pass, and then we'll kind of leave it at that. Because again, I kind of want to cover all this stuff on stream and hopefully finally get the win on stream, because I'm getting wins off stream, but I just can't seem to get the win on live. So it's a bit tricky. But yeah, the Avatar stuff continues. Of course, we've got effectively just under 3 weeks with all the Avatar stuff on the island, where the characters are NPCs, the bending mythics and all that sort of stuff. So just keep that in mind. If you're interested in playing, you have to play over the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, you won't get the full Fortnite Avatar experience. Next, we go to Facebook here for Avatar Realms Collide. There have been, I suppose, technically kind of 3 updates. First thing that's happened is that obviously they have had their technical test, their kind of pseudo beta thing, but it was more of a, like, it was like 6 days the game was up in very specific regions. Though it did eventually, I suppose, people put up the APK, it became available to a lot more people towards the end. I did actually play a couple of hours of the game. I specifically chose not to do a video on it just because they are saying it was just a technical test, and while I am assuming it is a somewhat feature-complete version of the game, I'm not going to give too much commentary on it before they put out something that is an actual kind of beta and they talk more officially about stuff. But I just wanted to kind of put that out there. So we have a sense for what the gameplay is now, and how it is all going to work. I'll talk about that, I think, in more detail, like I said, once an actual beta comes out, or they just put out videos kind of covering more of what the idea is. But there's been 2 posts. Interestingly, it's kind of like lore, background history on Chanyu, the main kind of villain character. So the first one here, you can see here, has this interesting image. It's Chanyu, with his back, of course, to like the camera, to us, and then it just has the nations here with their leaders, except technically it should be Tenzin for air, but they obviously want to go for the ATLA theming. Sure, like Aang is still in there, he's the first avatar that you get, but from the kind of gameplay mechanics perspective, Tenzin probably should be the one there, but who knows what exactly they're going for here. So what the text says is, leaders, not long ago we announced that the leader of the barbaric death cult was Chanyu, a powerful foe who now wants to disrupt the world's harmony. Chanyu has been a spiritual adept all his life, attuned to the ways of nature. Born into the rocky wastelands of the Earth Kingdom, as a child, the tribal leaders soon learned to trust his warnings of sudden storms and earthquakes. Now, with 37 years, he is the leader of the barbarian death cult, but why? What do you think about this background for such an interesting character? What other details have you discovered about his past? So, interesting stuff there. Obviously, the idea, he's a spiritual adept. That's interesting. So he is a spiritual person. He's connected to nature. He seems to have some sort of sensory abilities in a way. He can sense when storms, earthquakes, disasters are incoming. And he's from, I guess, a tribe in the Earth Kingdom, because they say he's born in the Earth Kingdom. Tribal leaders in the Earth Kingdom. That's an interesting one. Again, not a lot of detail here, but okay. Gives you a sense for kind of a little bit of what's going on with him. They seem to establish that, I'm guessing this is just, he is 37 years old, which a lot of times they don't give ages, so it is, I think, quite interesting that they've given his age. And obviously a certain amount of time has passed. He's become the leader of the death cult. How? Why? Is the question. But it continues in the next one. So again, we have another image. So you can see here, once again, Shan Yu here. This character, I believe, is Fuzhi, based on what we've seen before. This is a new character who either is important and has a name that we just don't know yet, or is it maybe just meant to be a generic kind of maybe female barbarian death cult member? Not really sure. Same, I think, goes for the characters in the kind of front here, facing away. Otherwise, they again focus on just shots of the other characters, which is a bit interesting because, of course, you know, okay, Zuko, Katara, Toph, Aang, Sokka in his armor from towards the end of the series, which the Sokka that's in the game is not that version, so is that just an image that they're using or not? It's really hard to say. But again, you'll note the green stuff, you know, you can see the glowworm effects kind of all over him in the eyes and in the background here. It seems quite interesting. But the text here is quite interesting. Leaders, once again, Shan Yu takes the stage, a foe whom some players have already encountered during our technical test. There we go. Shan Yu's physique has undergone a dramatic transformation, mirroring the profound changes in his psyche. He is now taller and stronger, yet also appears hunched and ominously demonic. Having struck a significant pact, Shan Yu now wields immense power acquired in exchange for the blood of humans. But who bestowed upon him this formidable gift? We look forward to your comments. Obviously, it's Glowworm. Because they're acknowledging that people have played some of the game, and basically if you've seen any footage, you've probably seen at least the first few minutes of gameplay. So everyone probably knows the bit of dialogue where literally your leader character speaks to Shan Yu and literally says, "You're Shan Yu, the leader of the barbarian death cults," and you're like possessed by the spirit of Father Glowworm. So it's out there. We're just waiting for the post that directly mentions Father Glowworm, and maybe it has the official art of him and stuff like that. But obviously what's happened here, Shan Yu has formed a pact, a deal with Father Glowworm, and in exchange for power, he has got power in exchange for the blood of humans, and this has made him physically stronger. He's like taller and stuff like that, but he's more ominous now because he effectively works for Father Glowworm. So this kind of highlights a little bit of what's going on here in terms of like, has the barbarian death cult always existed, or is it a death cult now because of the Glowworm connection, and that people within the cult are going to be sacrificed to Glowworm, because that seems to be how Glowworm regains his power over time, is by basically feeding on humans. Because interestingly, if you go back to Shadow of Kyoshi and you go over what happened with Yoon, this is effectively the deal that Father Glowworm offered Yoon. This is obviously after Yoon, like, basically fights him for multiple days in a row, and it turns out that they're somewhat evenly matched for each other. Glowworm changes tactics and is like, okay, I'll deal with you instead. I will make you more powerful. I will basically give you my ability to kind of create rifts between the physical world and the spirit world, and I'll make you more powerful. In exchange, you just have to like bring people to me as sacrifices. Now, obviously, Yoon turns the tables on this. He agrees to this, but then uses the opening to fully defeat Glowworm, badly damaging him, shrinking him down into size, and then eating him. So effectively, Yoon still gains the power of Glowworm because he's sort of merged with part of a spirit. It's just, it's him under the control of the kind of the duo effectively, whereas this is more of a situation where Chanyu agrees to effectively work for Glowworm. So Glowworm is in charge effectively of the deal, you would assume here. He could probably take away the power if required, something along those lines. That it seems like Glowworm maybe has the ability to, if he's near him, maybe take control of Chanyu or something like that. Will be interesting to see more of the details, but I do like that this actually fits perfectly in with, like, oh yeah, like Glowworm offers deals on occasion, and it seems like Chanyu is someone who took that deal, and that's what's happening here. The question still remains, of course, what's going on here? Is Chanyu a canonical character, or is he non-canon? Because the problem, if we go back through some of the other stuff, is of course you have other big shots, like this is the loading screen for the game. Korra and Aang on the same patch of land, as in, like, if this is meant to be canonical, it makes no sense, because technically that means there are two Ravas in this image. Rava is in Aang, but also Rava is in Korra at this point. Not to mention just stuff like Aang and Tenzin here, and the whole time gap stuff between it. Lots of kind of craziness going on here that, like, that can't really make sense. So how much of it is gameplay, how much of the story is actually substantial, and it maybe is meant to be canonical? Because it's clear they have what seems like a full backstory for Chanyu. They just have yet to properly, like, establish, like, a timeline thing. He's 37 years old, but what era is he born in? Is this in the ATLA era? And this is why most of the shots are with the ATLA characters. Is it the Korra era, and it's just that we're bringing the ATLA characters across? Or is it somewhere completely different? Like, that's the big question that they have. They can make this game work by telling us quite clearly what is and isn't official and canon and stuff like that. They just need to make people sort of care. Like, why should I care if this is not official, is sort of the idea here. Because I'm not sure the game is going to be the gameplay style that most people want from an Avatar game. So if you don't have the story details stuff and it's official, what is left? Probably just the ability for the game to present new art. And they need to still show that they can do that outside of a handful of Barbarian Death Cult members. And so there's a lot of questions that do need to be asked, and that's why it's quite interesting that I basically quote tweeted their post on Twitter, and they responded to me saying that more details very soon, even a Q&A. So a Q&A is coming up. They're kind of teasing, it seems like, almost the idea that they might actually answer some of these questions in a more detailed way. And they kind of respond to me. I said, like, hey, I'm looking forward to it. I have a lot of questions about the story stuff and different eras in the game. Hopefully we get more details. They say, sure thing. I'm sure you'll be happy with more information and answers. We're also preparing the community contributor program to provide more exclusive information. I will contact you probably next week. So I'm hoping to hear about that at some point. Maybe reveal some information about this game. Because I think there are some key questions that we need to know about this. For me, mainly the stuff about what is and isn't canon. And then my other big question probably is, okay, you have ATLA era stuff and you have Korra era stuff. Are you going to have Kyoshi era content, Yang-Chen era content? Basically, the idea is Rangi, Kavik, are characters like that planned? We know they have plans to put the comic characters into the game, but the comics are of course ATLA and Korra era. Whereas I think we want to see the potential for new art for characters who don't have art, and that stuff is from the novels. So I hope they can make that all kind of work and come together. So hopefully we'll get more substantial information on the game soon. They've had their technical test. Seems like it went relatively well. You know, people have found some bugs, some spelling errors, but I didn't see anything game-breaking get brought up. So it seems like it was relatively solid, the technical test, but we'll see what happens. Next up, we go back to Avatar Journey of Aang. This is, of course, the new board game that's going to have its crowdfunding campaign in a couple of months. And they have revealed some new information. So they've revealed one aspect of the kind of game rules, and that is about these things called harmony cards. So these are these square cards, as you can see here. There's obviously one for each of the different elements, of course. And the idea is that as you progress through the game, the cards kind kind of rotate, and I think it's all about what's facing in the right direction, basically up here in the top left corner. That's the current one, and you basically progress to the point of kind of mastery at the end. And again, without knowing the full details about how exactly you draw cards into your hand and stuff like that, there's a little bit of confusion. But the idea seems to be that over the course of the game, you draw these cards and then you gradually complete them by rotating them. And then when they're kind of complete, they act as basically additions to your dice rolls, in essence. So you can see here, you're going up against the Dai Li. You need to get 12 earth symbols on your dice and everything together. So this dice roll gives you 6 earth symbols, but then because you're at this level of kind of mastery in earth, you have 1 plus 3 plus 1, 5 extra from the harmony cards. That's kind of interesting. And then there's some you can see here, harmony cards can be spent to help mitigate bad luck, allowing 1 die to be re-rolled for each card discarded. You may discard 3 to activate the avatar state, which gives you a special dice, which seems like a cool mechanic. So it gives you a better sense for maybe what the gameplay is actually going to be like, of like you're rolling a lot of dice, especially towards the end of the game, I'm guessing. But then you also have to hope that you've built up a lot of these cards over the course of the game. And then it's all about when do you make the decisions to sort of like almost like sacrifice your cards to do more. I think that's kind of quite interesting overall. And there's one final important purpose in the game, acting as a timer. Each drawn fire harmony card from the second phase of the deck heralds the approach of Sozin's Comet. So that's interesting. So there's the explanation for how Firelord Ozai changes into Phoenix King Ozai and the game gets more difficult. Is like when enough of the red ones get drawn. That's kind of interesting. Another detail is just the first update that they gave. Momo won the poll, so there's going to be a Momo kind of coin that you'll be able to get, which is really cool. I think there's another thing as well. Where was it? Yeah, here. Free gift. So if you follow the campaign, you'll get a free gift once like you back it, I suppose. And it's going to be this kind of cool coin with all the elements on it, which actually seems really, really cool. So those feel like nice little collectible things that kind of give value to the game, I think. So interested to learn more, of course. Hopefully I'll be able to do that video kind of going over gameplay whenever they send me a copy, like they said they would. But yeah, we just have to wait a little bit for them to go through their initial updates and get to the point where all that stuff is ready. But it seems to be shaping up pretty well, I suppose, is the main idea there. And then the final part of the video is just Rocket League, of course, also has an Avatar collaboration. So they posted their trailer, as you can see here, highlighting a lot of the different cars. It's basically decals for specific car models here, and there's also a boost. 2 of these items transfer over into Fortnite. The Aang decal and the boost are available in Fortnite if you get it in Rocket League. So this is available until the 28th, so do keep that in mind. I'll actually switch over to showing you Rocket League because I have this stuff. So let me just check this out. So you can see here, this is it in the shop. The bundle of everything together costs 1,100. So 1,100 credits in Rocket League gets you everything here. Otherwise, I think the prices were like, I think the skins were 300 and I think the boost was 400, I think was the pricing. But I can show you all of this stuff, of course, here. So here's the Aang Octane skin. So you can see here, very nice. You don't get the wheels. It is just the skin on the actual car body. So really cool blue and orange, which is very fitting for an airbender, of course. Little bits of yellow coming in as well, which fit. And you get the kind of air kind of poofs along the side. The tattoo, of course, is kind of cool. It has some of the new kind of graphical effect elements kind of throughout the arrow going up the car. And it's interesting because it doesn't change depending on if you're on the blue or orange team in game, but it is blue and orange at the same time. And at least for me, when I've been playing in Rocket League, I've just changed the wheels to represent more orange or blue, so it's a little bit more obvious. But I think it's really nice, and the fact that it could be used in Rocket League as well to change the standard car into this, very cool. Next, we have the Appa skin on the Merc car body. So the important thing to note here is that the Merc is not available in Fortnite yet. I'm assuming if they ever do add it in, which maybe is a little bit of a question just because of the size of it compared to other cars, but maybe there's an opportunity. Really cool stuff here. This is the Appa skin, of course. It works perfectly, I think, with this kind of big, bulky kind of car model, having the stripes and stuff like that. But you also have stuff like air symbols, and again, some air kind of poofs along the kind of edges of the car as well. So, very cool looking one, very fitting as well. The car that looks like Appa looks like Appa now. Zuko is on the Dominus skin, so really cool kind of different kind of browns, dark reds, gold, very Fire Nation colored here, like the flame decals along the sides, fire symbol on top, and some other stuff going on as well. Really cool custom, of course, because it's not just a skin for any car. The skins are specific to that individual car model. So you can see like the flames coming out of the kind of engine kind of exhaust pipe things going on here is kind of nice. But that's the Zuko one. Next up we have the Katara car. So the Katara is on the Takumi, which is very nice. Very cool here. Also kind of has the stripe, but it's a water kind of effect stripe. And then I actually like the way they do the wave here. Making the wave consist of a lot of like air symbols is actually water symbols. Very, very cool. The different blues and kind of whites here, light blues. I think it works really, really nicely. This is a car I definitely would like to see come over to Fortnite eventually, because I think this would be a cool skin to have. I think they can make this work. This one, maybe you wonder, like, is it a little small for what they usually do in Fortnite? But I still think it can work. Because the thing with Rocket League is that some of the cars do have slightly different hitboxes, whereas I think for balance in Fortnite, they try to make them all very similar. This is an interesting one here. It's an animated decal, Cabbage Merchant on the Masamune, which I think is really cool. So you can see the cabbages kind of rotate in their spot along the sort of Cabbage Merchant stripe. Otherwise, it's just kind of like green. You've got bits of gold here, because it's meant to sort of be the cabbage cart in a way, made into the car. So along the edges you can see it's like the actual wood kind of paneling in a way of the cart, and then you have the kind of interior which actually has the cabbages. But very, very nice. Would love to see this one, because I think this car, the Masamune, I believe is in Fortnite, but this decal hasn't transferred over. Maybe because it's animated, but I'm not really sure overall. Yeah, and there's just switching the wheels a little bit. Next we have the Toph one, which is on the Fennec. So real nice here. Again, it's another kind of green gold, but also more white along the top here. You have the Earth symbol, and I like some of the symbols on the top as well. Probably one of the weaker ones, I'd say, maybe overall. I get why they call it like the Toph, the Katara, but it's really more of like, there's one for each element in a way, more specifically is sort of the idea, where like you have air, fire, water, earth, Appa or Sky Bison, and then Cabbage Merchant. And then finally the rocket, the rocket boost, which I think is very cool. It fits with some of the Fortnite items for sure, and you can see that this one is available in Fortnite. So cool, you have the sort of like Aang sphere of elements in a way at the core, and then you do actually send all of the elements out the back. So it's a very cool deluxe rocket boost there, which I think looks very, very cool. So cool to have in Fortnite. If you saw my stream, you did see me going around in this car for at least a little bit of that, and you'll see more of it in the stream on Monday. But for now, that has been the video. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on all of this news here, just recapping everything that there absolutely is. I'll have timestamps in the video, so keep that in mind as well. But yes, that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.